Wack100 did that. Let's talk about it. What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. So last night I was live. Gunner and I were live. And while we were live, there was another channel that was live. A channel I never talk about. You know, he's struggling for views. Content is not good. Views are horrible. And he's basically become a troll channel. He used to be on my lives all the time, shouting me out, you know, and then, you know, whenever he gets a chance, he'll throw rocks at Gunner and I. So he's on the list of those that we don't mention, right? And I think the majority of you guys know who I'm talking about. I think I'm going to have to say his name probably at some point in this video. Might be in the title. I don't even know what the title is going to be. But last night, he was live with two other vatos, and his guest was Wack100 and Loose Cannon. This dude, I get why he went live to a point. I get why he went live, because his regular content doesn't do anything, right? His lives are where he gets his money. But the thing was, he didn't have the capabilities to keep up with Wack100. Wack100, from start to finish, he dictated what the topic was. He dictated the tone. He dictated everything. I mean, if you just go and look at the podcast, you see Wack100, he's chilling. You see Loose Cannon, chilling. You see the three Raza there? They're like this, eh? I mean, he took over the set. He took over the show. And he made a fool out of those that he was sitting across from. You know, Wack100 was on a live with Gunner and I. And it was a spur of the moment thing. We called him, he picked up the phone. We had a conversation. When we made that phone call, we were expecting the Wack100 that's on Clubhouse. We were expecting disrespect, a bunch of shit talk. And what we got was a very respectful Wack100. And I've said in many videos, man, I don't base my interaction with anyone off of someone else's interaction with somebody. Wack100 was disrespectful and is disrespectful to a lot of people. However, when he took our phone call, he was respectful as fuck, and we reciprocated. We had a decent, respectful conversation. It seemed to me Wack sized these dudes up. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful, especially to that dude Droops. I don't know him. But from what I hear, man, he's a good dude. But when Wack figured out that two of the three had never been in the joint, and that none had done YA time, that was his gauge. And he knew where he could go. Not only that, he kind of knows more about Raza politics than it seems some of the guys he was talking to know. That should not have been a live video, eh? That should have been a recorded video and should have been edited up. Instead, it was live. If you go through the comments in that video, you see how people feel about how the Raza looked, how they came across. And it's guaranteed that there are people who have weight on them watch that and probably aren't very happy with the look. They probably aren't going to be happy with the things that were let slide. But hey, you chased the buck, Holmes. Hopefully it was worth it. I only watched a few minutes of it. People told me some of the stuff they said. But right from jump, and I don't know, man, to me personally, I feel like that was a test. Wack put a scenario out there, and I personally, just from my YA experience, I feel it was a test and they failed it, and he knew. These dudes don't know nothing. They don't know shit. He could make up whatever he wants and dictate what the outcome is going to be. And that's what he did. And I'm going to tell you the example. In the beginning, he said, when he was talking about mimicking Raza and that people got butthurt over him mimicking Lefty Gunplay, when he made up a whole scenario and then made up a voice in a way that Lefty doesn't even talk. And I'm one of the ones that said that was bullshit, right? But he said something along the lines of, in YA, on Friday nights, I think he said, I don't know what fucking night it was, that everybody would get on their doors and the Mexicans would talk and act black on the door, and the blacks would talk and act Mexican on the door, and it was all clowning and everybody laughed. Woo! Where's that at? I got busted in 1989. I hit SRCC in February of 1990. I paroled in 1993. Okay? We normally don't refer to SRCC or NRCC as YA. We just say the reception center. But from my experience, from what I've heard, Wack100 was in SRCC and Nellis. I don't know if he went anywhere else. There's no dorms. I mean, there's no doors for people to be on in Nellis. Just like in Paso, there's no doors for people to be on, to be, woofing and playing these roles, these ethnic roles, these racial roles, okay? Wack100 was young when he went to SRCC. That's cell living. When I went to SRCC, I went to Cabrillo. Cabrillo was 15 and under. Portola was 16 and 17. The rest were 18 to 24, okay? It's all cell living. However, Cabrillo and Portola, no Mexicans were allowed to be in a cell by themselves. I mean, with another Mexican, excuse me. No blacks were in a cell with another black. And they did that because those were the two rowdiest, nuttiest units in SRCC, Cabrillo and Portola. Every Mexican had a black cellie. Every black had a Mexican cellie. Nobody was getting on them doors portraying the other race. To the contrary, just about everybody, when you went into a cell, you got down with your cellie just to let them know you ain't no punk, because dudes were getting turned out right there in SRCC. So for Wack to say, yeah, man, on Friday nights, hey, remember that when we used to act like that? And Droops said yes. Droops co-signed something. Maybe it happened when he was there. I hope he was telling the truth, because I know when I was there, and I know every single vato that I know never told a story about that. You're talking about an era and a climate that was more racial than the California Department of Corrections, and people were playing like that. Man, back then, if a homie would have been sagging, there would have been a problem. If a homie would have used the N-word back then, there would have been a problem. He would have been dealt with, and getting dealt with in YA is way, way different than the California Department of Corrections. Because in the California Department of Corrections, you may get off lucky and they just kill you. Your suffering ends. In the California Youth Authority, it never ends. You get dropped leva and you got 5 years to do. for 5 years, you catch the blues. If you try to get mouthy with somebody, you're gonna get jumped. You get a package, it's taken from you. You get store, it's taken from you. There is no protective custody, and you are getting fucked off, and you're suffering your whole entire term. So when I heard this, I was like, man, Holmes. And Gunner called and we started chopping it up. And, you know, I was just like, you know what? I don't need to see more. I did hear that Wack100 to these vatos' faces said that Raza are allowed, Southern Raza are allowed to snitch on blacks. And it's okay. That's a fucking lie. And let me tell you something that we were talking about on the phone earlier. We all know that there is an end of hostilities right now. Do you really believe that if there was a rule that Southerners were allowed to snitch on anybody, that the other three factions of the Big Four would be in okay with the end of hostilities with a group like that? A group that okays that? The fuck out of here. Southerners plot on Southerners all day long. If a Southerner has told on anyone, they're whacking that ass. Period. So this whole lie, I mean, listen, Holmes. If we sit back and try to use common sense, people don't have common sense anymore. It's a rarity. See, they want to spit this whole narrative that the Raza outnumber the blacks, right? But then turn around and say the Raza are outnumbered and that's why it's okay to snitch on them. Well, which one is it? The truth is Raza in level 4, 180 prisons in California are outnumbered by blacks by hundreds. So the first person I ever heard tell that lie was BG Knockout, whose brother is a fucking sex offender. He shouldn't be talking about nada. Okay? It's completely mind-boggling that anyone has said that when you're talking about the most per capita and in any other type of way. If you look at all the murders that have been happening in the CDC, the most violent group in the California Department of Corrections is the Southerners. They commit more murders than everyone. They commit more assaults, more stabbings than anyone. And they're going to just let dudes snitch and hang out? And these three vatos let Wack say that? And it was like nothing happened. I'm not saying there should have been, I don't know, Holmes. I'm not going to get into it, but I'm going to second what Gunner had to say. If Wack100 and Loose Cannon would have went on Hood Stocks and they would have said that, Hood Stocks would have took off his headset and said, hey, all right, thank you guys for coming. This one's over. And whatever would have been said or done after the cameras turned off would have been what it would have been. But it wouldn't have been Wack100 saying that and then let's giggle and let's talk for another 20, 30, 40 minutes. Nuh-uh. I personally have nothing against Wack. As I said, Wack100 has been respectful in my interactions with him. I can't disrespect that dude on a personal level. Do I talk about things that he does and how it looks and how it's comprehended? Of course I do. I'm a content creator. I'm Raza and I'm unbiased. I speak about what I see on the internet, on social media, because it's part of my job. Right? These three vatos seriously were outmaneuvered, outthought, outplayed. It is a bad look, Holmes. And I'm sure the little tiny dude with the bad beard, I'm pretty sure he's gonna make videos about me and Gunner. He needs views, Holmes. But he can't take away the fact that happened, eh? He allowed it to. I honestly, I wish I could post. I wish I could clip it, but he reported Baldacci. What you think he's going to do to anybody that fucking shows a clip of him? He's going to report us. And of course he's going to report vatos that are making more money than him. Look at the name of his show. This could be potentially a career ender. You know, in the short term, he might get a boost. It's like when Wes Watson went on Fresh and Fit and got humiliated. He got a boost in his content. He got a boost to his viewership, right? His views went up for a little while. And then people were just like, nah. And he struggles to get 10,000 views a video. A guy with 500,000 subscribers. This podcast, I hope Droops goes back to hood stocks, man. That's what I would like to see. Whatever happened with them, happened with them. It's not my business, not nobody else's business. Maybe it's good for him and Lucky that they're not together. I don't know. Maybe it makes... But what happened last night, I'm sure phone calls were made. And people laugh when I say that, but I'm sure there was some phone calls made. And probably still being made today. My advice, take that shit down. Edit it up. And put out content. Put out a few different videos, man. That was a horrible look, eh? Congratulations to Wack, eh? Congratulations, man. You outplayed them, homes. You were playing chess. These vatos were playing hopscotch. They weren't even in the same realm. I've seen people get severely disciplined for opening the door for other people from other groups to make them look foolish. The homies ain't gonna whack them. They're gonna touch you. You know, I remember in the joint where it was, we clown, homes. We shoot carrian all day long. But you don't do it in front of another faction. You never belittle a homie in front of another group. And these vatos belittled themselves. I don't wish harm on nobody, eh? You know? But I feel like the way you... Let me put it like this. You know, sometimes in the joint, vatos are disciplined by what they should know. By what their education is. That vato definitely knew better. Treat him accordingly. Well, you know what, Holmes? That vato, he's young, Holmes. He don't really know, Holmes. Don't be too rough on him. Get him, but don't be too rough on him. When you portray yourself to know the game and to be a player in the game, you got to know the rules because they're going to be enforced. That's my video, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them. Before I go, let me shout out those that donated to the live last night. Food and Felons, Mac 11, Javier Carrillo, Sam Bermudez, Daniel Sanchez, Barrio Liquors, Joseph Contreras, Galactic Goo, Joaquin Arizola, Joe Blow, and Manny Murillo. Thank you guys, man. Raza, get it together. Tighten it up, man. Tighten it up. Let's do better. So we can get further, man. All of us. I'm out of here.